Hey, can you guys hear us?
All right.
Is the stream good? Can you guys hear us? Sorry. Where you at?
You can put it a little bit this way. Back further.
Hey.
Um,
I'm sorry. This is.
Hi, guys. How are you doing tonight? So, as you can tell, we're out and about today. We were going to do this down by the river by our room, but we needed food. We thought we had a little bit more time.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's just get into this.
Whoa. What's this shit?
Woo! That didn't work.
Is the stream doing good right now, guys? Can you hear us?
Why are you bringing it forward so far?
I'm sorry.
Hi, guys. Sorry. I can read them if you can't.
Okay, cool.
So we're going to talk about Gary Ridgway today. Gary Leon Ridgway, born February 18th, 1948.
So, real fast, everything is working on here. The connection wasn't allowing us to do videos on here, but everything else works. So here we go.
So as you guys know, we're on Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Mantium 13, PBDC TV, Ridgeway Red. Yeah. Sorry, our waitress is about. What are you doing? What on earth are you doing? Okay, guys. There we go. Hey, Sykes. We'll be right back. Right. I just saw root beer. Hi, guys.
Sorry.
I'm not drinking tonight because I'm going to get high when we get back. All right. So tonight we're talking about Gary Ridgway. He's the Green River Killer, as you guys probably do know. It's gorgeous here. It really is. That's why we were going to go down by the river, because this is a little bit louder here. But they have such good beers. We just couldn't, And root beer. Army of the Dead. Nice.
Yeah, that came out today. Army of the Dead came out today.
Man. We'll watch it tonight on our phones. Hey. All right. So, again.
Tom will have a burger.
A burger and a beer. You hear that?
Oh, it's cold.
Do you want a jacket?
I should have brought a sweater. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm not cold. I'm actually warm.
No, it's fine.
Here. Okay, guys. Sorry. This is going to be a weird show tonight. So, this is probably not as professional as we usually do it, to be honest. But you know what? We need to get out too sometimes. This is my payday. Okay. So Gary Leon Ridgway, born February 18th, 1949. He's also known as the Green River Killer. He was initially convicted of 48 separate murders. As part of his plea deal, another conviction was added, bringing the total to 49, making him the second most prolific serial killer in the United States history, according to his confirmed murders. Down by the river. Hey, Dom. Hey, Ray. Hey, Nat. Hey, everybody. Hey, Mikey. Hey, Tisa.
Okay.
Anyway. We'll get to the comments in a second, guys. Sorry. So, he killed many teenage girls and women in the state of Washington during the 80s and the 90s. Most of them, though, were sex workers. Were known to be sex workers.
They were sex workers. SEG. I see that TikTok.
I'm like, what are you talking about? He watches TikTok too much, guys.
I do. You get obsessed with it.
Go down on the comments here.
Oh. They said go down in the comments.
You guys get to see my 3 chins today.
Yes, Natalie. Gary Ridgway is a douche.
He is a douche canoe.
Yep.
So, the span of his crimes go from 82 to 98, but they really could go as far as 2001.
No, he was caught in 2003.
He was apprehended in 2001.
Oh no, his trial was in 2003.
Yeah, November 30th, 2001. He is currently imprisoned at the Washington State Pen, Walla Walla. Walla Walla, I'll see you at a Walla Walla.
That might be. Oh, just kidding.
Folsom Prison is the destination. Sorry, guys. Oh, hi there. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm being cheap tonight.
Let's see where we're at. Carroll River Company.
So, in all the circumstances, they were especially vulnerable women. A lot of them were runaways. A lot of them were sex workers. A lot of them were, Walla Walla, Washington. A lot of them were sex workers. So the nickname the press gave him is because the first 5 victims were actually found by the Green River.
Yeah.
Before they knew his identity. So that's why he's the Green River Killer.
Another thing they actually think happened that Willie Picton was active too in Vancouver during him, and they actually think some of Willie Picton's pig farmer, his victims were actually Gary Ridgway's victims too.
That's possible. Yeah. That's very possible. So he predominantly strangled his victims by hand.
Very personal.
Walla Walla? No, Walla Walla's in Washington.
Yeah.
Folsom Prison's in Cali, though.
Near Sacramento. I
was singing a Offspring song. Because they have a song called Walla Walla. So, sometimes he would use, the ligatures to choke his victims. Sorry. We talk about serial killers. I'm just gonna get the smoke salmon bowl. Well, then anticlimactic. Yeah. Sorry, bro. So I'm just gonna say this real fast. He would actually strangle his victims by hand. Quite often, and sometimes he would use the ligatures, but it was a little bit more personal when he did it by hand. And just the fact that he was that strong is crazy. But it also takes quite a while to choke somebody, so that means
he learned how to do it over time.
There's a dog and a hair.
Yeah, he was very sadistic.
Very vicious.
Very personal in everything that he did.
So he would then dump the bodies in forested, overgrown areas in King County, often returning to the bodies to have sex with them again. Yep. On November 30th, 2001, he was leaving the Kenworth truck factory where he worked in Renton, and he was arrested for the murders of 4 women whose cases came back linked to him through DNA profiling.
Well, I think he got released.
Well, as part of the plea bargain, he agreed to disclose the location of the other missing women. Hey, Cora, what's up?
That's so cool.
Hey. So, he was spared the death penalty by giving up the location of the other woman. All right, so let's get into a little bit more about him. So Gary Leon Ridgway was born February 18th, 1949 in Salt Lake City, Utah.
I was born February 7th.
I know you were. The second of 3 sons to Mary and Thomas Ridgway. Hey, Genevieve, what's up? So the second of 3 sons. His home life was somewhat troubled. His relatives have described his mom as domineering, which kind of leads into the psychological profiling of why he was doing that.
I want to say he also.
I wouldn't doubt it. He witnessed a lot of violence. There were a lot of violent arguments between his parents. Bring up what? Hey! And Yep. Vote for Cora Deadwood.
Yes.
I can't speak today, guys. Ray says, I went to visit a friend in Washington around the holidays. I went past the prison going to the Kennewick, Washington. Oh, interesting. I've heard it's pretty big.
He's still alive too. So.
Mm-hmm. So, Ridgway, his father was a bus driver who would often complain about the presence of sex workers. So that's where his hatred for them came.
Mm-hmm.
He had a bad bedwetting problem until he was 13.
And that's another sign of a serial
That's
killer.
another sign of a serial killer. Anytime, Cora. You are fantastic. His mother would wash his genitals after every episode. So there you go, getting into more like of the molestation and stuff like that.
It was. We probably should have kind of censored ourselves.
Yeah, we are in public. I may have picked a bad one to come up to here with. So Ridgway is actually dyslexic. He was held back a year in high school. When he was 16, he actually stabbed a 6-year-old boy.
He didn't kill him though.
No. He survived.
Yeah.
But he had led the boy into the woods and then stabbed him through the ribs into his liver. His IQ has been recorded as being in the low 80s, so he does not have a very high IQ.
You don't need a high IQ to be really, really good at murder and stuff.
Well, I know, because I mean, you got like Kemper and Akala who have these ridiculously high IQs, but got caught even faster.
Yeah.
Akala got caught.
I want to say that they wanted Kemper and Alcohol.
Kemper wanted to get caught. He turned himself in.
Mm-hmm.
So
we covered Kemper so much, and I already know a lot about him.
I know.
I think he wanted to get caught. Oh, actually, he did get caught.
He did turned himself in. Hey, Angie, what's up?
Hey, Angie.
So, and Cora said hi to Angie too. Right above it. So, in his adult life, okay, Ridgway graduated from Taiyi High School in 1969. He married his 19-year-old high school sweetheart, Claudia Craig. He joined the Navy. He was sent to Vietnam, where he served on board of a supply ship and saw combat. During his time in the military, Ridgway, gosh, I can't talk, had frequent sexual intercourse with sex workers and contracted gonorrhea. So there's more hatred.
Yeah, because he blamed them. The reality of it is that like
really, he did it to himself.
He did it to himself. He didn't have to do this.
He should have known exactly what they were. Although angered by this, he continued this activity without protection. The marriage then ended in a year.
He still did this activity throughout the 80s until he got caught. Actually, he did cool down for a few years. There's one incident.
As far as we know.
No, he didn't. There was the kind of started back up again. There was one incident where actually he took his son to a murder.
I remember that.
He took his
son. I'm going
to
to mention that later.
Yeah, we'll get into it then.
I think.
His young son.
Yeah. So when questioned about Ridgway after his arrest, the friends and family described him as friendly but strange. His first I can't talk. His first 2 marriages. Jesus Christ. His first 2 marriages resulted in divorce because of infidelity by both partners.
One of his, I think it was his wife.
They all cheated.
His wife at the end, the one he was with when he went to jail, he would constantly sneak up on her. And he had this uncanny ability to sneak up on people. And it would freak her out.
She probably,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean.
He would sneak up on her and scare her or something like that. Not sneak up and stare at her, but.
No, I get that. So, he became religious during his second.
Code blue. Yeah.
That's all I say. He became pretty religious, actually. He became religious during his second marriage, if I'm going to say that again. proselytizing door to door, reading the Bible out loud at work and at home, insisting that his wife follow strict teachings of their pastor. Ridgway would also frequently cry after sermons and while reading the Bible.
It's almost like he was learning emotions. So
Kind of, I guess.
learning a way to like cover up things and stuff like that.
But despite these beliefs,
Oh, he still kept doing it.
I mean, he continued to solicit the services of sex workers. He wanted his wife to participate in sexual
Yeah.
acts in public.
Yes.
Um,
Which is also that's the wife that he kept sneaking up on.
And
Sneaking up on.
in inappropriate places,
Like the back of a Volkswagen?
like the back of a Volkswagen. But that's uncomfortable places. Natalie, say it again, Liz. Yep. Yeah, a serial killer with morals, right? No, that he ain't no Dexter.
No, even that. Well, there's time. A little bit.
Hey, little bit. You gotta say it one more time. Little bit.
A little bit.
Little bit.
Okay, there she is. She's back.
She's back again.
Oh.
We love you.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Uh-oh, it glitched.
They glitched.
We need to get through this.
All right. According to the women in his life, he had an insatiable sexual appetite. Put that one up. His 3 ex-wives and several ex-girlfriends reported that he demanded sex for them several times a day.
What is it with circulars and Volkswagens?
The wheels on the bug go round and round, round and round.
Tam says little bit, little bit, little bit. Oh, she's gone.
Aw, come back a little bit.
Dawn says hi to Sakes. All right.
So, often he would want to have, sex in public, sex in wooded areas. He himself admitted to having a fixation on sex workers, with whom he had a love-hate relationship with. He frequently complained about their presence in his neighborhood, but he also took advantage of their services.
One of the reasons why serial killers, well, one, they're I was doing the comments so we know what I was watching.
Just watching.
One of the reasons
I'm listening.
One of the reasons why is one, society looks down on sex workers and they do everything they can. When they get killed or like that,
Nobody really cares.
They don't care.
Yeah.
2, it's control. He has more control and he gets to do what he wants. 3, even after killing the bodies, they're killing the people and so that, going back to the bodies. Necrophilia is a sign, it is a major, major sign of control. They have complete control over what they're doing right then and there. So that's the reason why he did it. He wanted to have control over a situation that he lost years and years ago to his mother and stuff like that. He treated him like shit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's an excuse.
It's not an excuse, but it is very common for serial killers to have a horrible upbringing, have domineering women in their life if their targets are often women, have issues with sex workers in their life, stuff like that. And then often, like mentioned before, sex workers are targeted because they're usually not missed.
Yeah.
They're runaways, they're druggies, there's a lot of different aspects to it, especially the ones that are on the streets.
There are a lot of issues.
A lot of issues. So, it's interesting that they were often in his neighborhood. There's a huge presence of them in his neighborhood, and he was complaining about them. But then, like I said, he'd often use their services. But some have speculated that Ridgway was torn between his lust and his staunch religious beliefs. With his second wife, Marcia, Ridgway had a son, Matthew.
Yeah.
So the murders throughout the 80s and 90s. Ridgway is believed to have murdered at least 71 teenage girls and women near Seattle and Tacoma. But they were only able to prove and convict him of 49.
Ridgway was the most prolific serial killer until they caught Samuel Little.
Yeah.
Samuel Little has
We're going to cover him soon.
215 confirmed murders. And they expect to be as high as 250.
We're going to cover him soon at one point. Anyway, ADD, sorry. He later reported that he had killed so many that he lost count. A majority of the murders occurred Between 82 and 84, the victims were believed to be either sex workers or runaway, whom he would pick up along the Pacific or the PCH, you know, or Pacific Highway South.
Real fast to get back to his victims. At the time, he when they actually caught him and they were even showing his victims and stuff like that, he literally looked at pictures going, "I don't remember these people."
I think the words were, "I'm pretty sure I did it."
Yeah.
But I don't remember.
Yeah, because he did. So many
He said, "I'm not trying to get away with it and like tell you a lie here. I'm pretty sure I did it." You know. So Ridgway sometimes showed the women a picture of his son to trick them into trusting him. Now I'm starting to get cold. No, don't. No, it's fine. It's fine. They would engage in the sexual act, and after minutes from behind, he would wrap his forearm around the front of their neck and use the other to pull it back as tightly as he could to strangle them to death. He killed most of his victims in his home, in his truck, or in a secluded area. Kind of like a wide range there. Like that seems like a weird statement.
Well, it's pretty much it was either in his truck in a secluded area. It was never. It was always in the woods and stuff like that. He rarely did it in the city or anything like that.
But it's weird that it was also in his home.
Oh yeah.
That a lot of them were in his home.
Tony.
Sorry,
Tony.
Oh my god. Okay, so
Let's read a little bit more. Get the comments here. We're backed up.
we're a little. Hey, Jeff Ridgway.
Hey, Jeff Ridgway.
How are you?
Hello.
We're talking about Gary Ridgway. Are you Gary in disguise?
Are you someone in disguise?
Okay, sorry, I totally ADD'd out here. So most of their bodies were dumped in wooded areas around the Green River, hence his nickname. And then Seattle Tacoma International Airport. And then other dump sites within South King County. Let's talk about my admirer. Oh my God. A little bit does have an admirer, or let's be real, a stalker.
Yeah.
So there were also 2 confirmed and another 2 suspected around Portland. The bodies were often left in clusters, sometimes posed.
People are staring at us. Like, what?
Oh.
A podcast.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like, why are they doing this?
We wanted beers.
We really wanted beers. So he actually left them posed, usually naked, in clusters. Like he would group them into a certain amount in different areas.
Natalie, it's not a Ridgway Brothers. It's not a band. Right. Oh, that's funny.
So he would often return to the site to diddle them.
Fiddle the diddle.
Fiddle the diddle. I'm trying to be nicer since everybody got really quiet over here.
Wow. He didn't say fuck. So we can say talk.
Ridgway later explained that he did not find necrophilia more satisfying. But it reduced his need to obtain another living victim. And thus limiting his exposure to being caught.
Yes. So,
I don't know. Isn't that kind of what?
well, if it's off in the middle of nowhere.
It's kind of what got Ted Bundy caught for more of the things. No, like
After the fact.
After the fact, they were able to piece it together. But he was also
he took him to his fields and stuff like that.
I know, but some of the other ones they were able to do through DNA. So because most of the bodies were not discovered until only, they were skeletal remains. 2 of them are unidentified still.
Mm-hmm.
He would occasionally contaminate the dump sites with guns, cigarettes, and written materials belonging to others. He even transported a few victims' remains across state lines into Oregon. So
Ridgway was like a squirrel storing nuts. Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we're morbid.
But yeah, so he would put like letters that belonged to other people, materials. He even transported some of the victims like across Oregon state lines to confuse the police.
So he wasn't exactly. He just had a little IQ, but he was smart and knew what he was doing.
It's weird that his IQ was supposedly so low.
You have your processes and you know how to do them, and that's that.
So in the early 80s, the King County Sheriffs often they formed a task force called the Green River Task Force to investigate the various murders. This included Robert Keppel, who you may know him from other murders.
You may know him from such shows as.
No, he also worked on The Night Stalker.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like some random killer.
No, Robert Keppel.
Yeah.
He's one of those people. I saw some interviews with him, and he was like, I can't believe that I went from Ridgway to Ramirez.
Jack the Ripper would kill them
If they were walking in an alley.
Sorry.
So what's interesting with Keppel is, and Reichard, actually, I think both of them, Reichard, they both actually ended up working on both of those at some point. So they both worked on Ridgway and they both worked on the
it was around the same
Ramirez cases.
It all happened in the 80s mostly.
But it was because they had such major experience.
Too, I think Keppel was so active in the early 2000s and stuff like that.
Oh.
I think he retired.
Both of them interviewed Bundy as well. So they interviewed Bundy in '84. And Bundy is part of what helped catch him.
Yes.
So Bundy offered his opinions on the psychology and motivations of the killer, but he would usually say, if I was this person, this is what I would do. But I didn't do anything.
Bundy didn't officially confess until the day before.
The day before he was put to death. He thought it was this little trump card that he had in his pocket, like, oh, here you go. Keep me alive, and here you go.
Sykes is a little bit stalker. There's no place to hide Sykes.
Run, Sykes, run! Look at it.
I'd like to see everyone now. Then
underneath.
There we go.
So, he suggested that the killer was revisiting the dump sites to have intercourse with his victims, which turned out to be true. And the police found a fresh grave. If the police had found a fresh grave, they should stake it out and wait for him to come back, which is smart, actually. Also contributing to the investigation was John E. Douglas, who was developing a profile of him, and did develop one, actually. Ridgway was arrested in '82 and 2001 on charges related to prostitution. He became a suspect in the Green River killings in '83. In '84, he took a polygraph test and passed. And on April 7th of '87, they took hair and saliva samples from him.
It comes down to the polygraph test. It's a matter of you believing yourself.
Well, also, there's other weird ways of doing it. Like you put a thumbtack in your shoe and you tap it every single time.
You make it regular, but more than likely he didn't do that. He just believed himself.
Yeah.
That's really all a polygraph proves, that you believe yourself.
Mm-hmm. But like supposedly the thumbtack thing is you put yourself in pain with every single answer, and the result, even if it's true or false, is going to be the same. I wasn't even thinking about that. I didn't even know that was in it.
It was in Neighborhood.
Oh, I didn't. You guys, I haven't seen Ocean's 11.
It's a good movie.
I just ousted myself. I've never seen Ocean's 11. I have thumbtacks in my shoes.
That's how a little bit does it.
So, around '85, Ridgway began dating Judith Mawson, who became his third wife in '88. Mawson claimed in a 2010 interview that she moved into his house while they were dating. There was no carpet. Detectives later told her that he probably had wrapped a body up in the carpet.
Possibly.
Excuse me. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, now he's talking about the thumbtack thing too.
In the same interview, she described how he would leave for work early in the morning some days, and he would do this for the paid overtime. Yeah, sure. Speculated that he must have committed some of the murders while he was supposedly working these paid overtime early shifts.
Should we try? Oh, we got a big connection for commercial real fast.
Hey guys, we're gonna do a commercial real fast.
Yes, I guess we're not. But
Yeah, so the speculation on this was that like he committed some of the crimes during these supposed overtime early shifts. We're gonna pause on that
hopefully it
and
runs.
let's hope that this commercial runs. Nope.
Wait.
I don't know how good that was.
That ran.
You found me. You found me in the woods.
It has a delay.
I'll make I'll bring sure to bring cookies and milk.
Yes.
I want cookies. I still owe you cookies a little bit. So, Mawson actually claims that she had no clue until like around 87.
It's the same thing with BTK's wife.
She says that
was
she
able to get
had.
away with his kinks and all this stuff with BTK. She knew.
She knew something was up. I'm sure.
She knew what was going on.
So, she actually claims that she had not suspected any of the crimes at all. Before she was contacted by the authorities in 87. She hadn't even heard of the Green River Killer before that time because she didn't watch the news.
Yeah.
If you sneeze, you'll find me.
It's fun tonight. Everyone's having fun tonight. This is great.
This is awesome, guys. Keep it up.
You found me. Spices, you found me. All of them.
Sorry, I just choked on spit. All right, so Penny Moorhead, an author, actually interviewed Ridgway in prison and said while he was in the relationship with Mawson, his kill rate actually went down because he truly loved her. Can I finish?
A little bit sexy, juicy pants. A stud mom doesn't get cookies and milk. They're grounded. No, they're not in here.
They left.
Tom was in here for a little bit.
Okay, so he actually says that when he told he had told an author while he was in prison that the kill rate actually went down because he actually loved her. Of his known 49 victims, only 3 were killed after he married Mawson.
Is it that he loved her, or that he basically gave into his weird sexual shit?
Maybe.
And because he's a sociopath, he's a narcissist. He doesn't love anybody.
Our food's coming, guys. We should have done the commercial then. Me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. I'm gonna steal a potato wedge. I'm covering my face.
We're eating on film. I'm sorry.
All right.
It's podcasters privilege.
Mm-hmm. So Mawson told a television reporter, "I feel I have saved lives by being his wife and making him happy."
It's pretty good.
I love the garlic on there. So samples collected in 87 were later subjected to DNA profiling, providing the evidence for his arrest warrant. On November 30th of 2001, he was at his work. And what the hell? He was at his work at the Kenworth truck factory where he worked as a spray painter when the police arrived to arrest him. Ridgway was arrested on suspicion of murdering 4 women nearly 20 years earlier after being first identified as a potential suspect when DNA evidence conclusively linked him because of the saliva swabs. The 4 victims named in the original indictment were Marcia Chapman, Opal Mills, Cynthia Hines, Carol Ann Christensen. 3 more victims, Wendy Caulfield, Deborah Bonner, and Deborah Estes, were added to the indictment after a forensic scientist identified microscopic spray paint spheres as a specific brand and composition of paint used at the Kenworth factory during the specific time frame when they were killed. How crazy is that?
That is pretty good.
So,
She's eating taters. What am I eating?
garlic.
Garlic, cheesy
Oh god, that was a good lot of garlic.
bacon wedges. What have you like?
Yum. I'm doing this to cover my face.
No. I saw some
So-
Dr. Pepper cotton candy yesterday. Oh, we have some at the house. I'm not a fan of it though.
I have it. It was got for me. In August of 2003 in Seattle, the television news reports said that Ridgway had been moved from a maximum security cell at the King County Jail to a Airways Heights minimum to medium security level tank. Other news reports stated that his lawyers, led by Anthony Savage, were closing a plea bargain that would spare him the death penalty in return for the confession of.
Really good.
Do you want to do another beer?
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, guys.
What's your seasons right now?
Hey, Dizzy, what's up?
We do have, do you want a stout? We do have a gauntlet. It's barrel aged, and then it's like a peanut butter cacao. And then we have a lunch IPA.
Oh, Natalie says, "Damn, my grandmother drove Kenworths. What if it was one of the ones that Ridgway painted? That would be crazy." So,
I mean, there's a chance because even bringing up Willie Picton, if you lived in the Northwest at the time, there was a chance during Willie Picton's time eating
really,
time killing sex workers in Canada.
eating sex workers?
Well, he has a pig farmer, and he shipped to get rid of the bodies. He shipped the meat to the butchers and stuff like that, and to the meat packing facilities, and then it got shipped out for people to eat.
God, I should have got that. So, on November 5th of 2003, he entered a plea bargain to the charges of 48 aggravated first-degree murder charges. As part of the plea bargain, agreed to in June that would spare him execution in exchange for his cooperation in locating the remains of his victims and providing other details. In his statement accompanying his plea, Ridgway explained that he had killed all of his victims inside King County, Washington, and that he had transported and dumped the remains of 2 women near Portland to confuse the police. Deputy Prosecutor Jeffrey Baird noted in court that the deal contained the names of 41 victims who not to be subject or who would not be the subject of State v. Ridgway if it were not for the plea agreement.
Just so people aren't confused, like Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon is actually a border city. It's in Washington and Oregon at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't.
It's not. Well, no, it's bordering. It's not really.
It's bordering. It's really like it's not too far. I think it's the river that splits everything up. But it wasn't too far.
I don't think so. I think it's 2 hours away.
No, I think it's. Whatever.
I'm just going based off of what my mom said. Because they're like 45 minutes outside of Portland.
Yeah.
So, attorney Norm Malling explained his decision to make the deal. We could have gone forward with 7 counts, but that is all we would have ever hoped to solve. At the end of the trial, whatever the outcome, there would have been lingering doubts about the rest of these crimes. This agreement was the avenue to the truth. Excuse me. And in the end, the search for the truth is still why we have the criminal justice system. Gary Ridgway does not deserve our mercy. He does not deserve to live. The mercy provided by today's resolution is not directed at Ridgway, but towards the families who have suffered so much. So on December 18th, 2003, King County Superior Court Judge Richard Jones sentenced Ridgway to 48 life sentences with no possibility of parole, and 1 life sentence to be served consecutively. He was also sentenced to an additional 10 years for tampering with evidence for each of the 48 victims. So that added 480 years to the sentence.
What if it turns out to be immortal?
I doubt it, but that would suck.
400 years on the road, he gets out. Can you imagine that?
Oh God. So Ridgway led prosecutors to 3 bodies in 2003. On August 16th of that year, the remains of 16-year-old girl near Enumclaw, Washington, was found 40 feet from State Route 410, and were pronounced as belonging to Pammy Annette Avett, who had been believed to be one of the victims, but up until then was never proven. The remains of Marie Alvar and April Buttram. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm not mature enough to say that last name.
Mature enough at all to say that.
And I just spelled Buttram.
I'm so glad I wasn't on the jury.
Were found in
would've got
September of 2003. On November 23rd, 2005, the Associated Press reported that a weekend hiker found the skull of one of the 48 women that he had admitted to murdering. The skull of another victim, Tracy Winston, who was 19 when she disappeared from the Northgate Mall on September 12th, 1983, was found on November 20th of 2005 by another man hiking in a wooded area near Highway 18. So that's near Issaquah, which, by the way, is one of the hunting grounds that Bundy was in. They were doing this around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So Ridgway confessed to more confirmed murders than any other American serial killer. Over a period of 5 months of police and prosecutor interviews, he confessed to 48 murders, 42 of which were on the police list already of probable victims. So there was an additional 6 there that they didn't even think about.
This is where basically saying you're going to live the rest of your life in jail in a comfortable cell, whatever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kind of the payoff. It sucks because they even said it.
They were like, we didn't want to do this. He didn't deserve mercy.
But it brings closure to these families. It finds out what happened to these people, and that's that. So
in one tape interview, he initially told investigators that he was responsible for around 65 deaths. In another one, on December 31st, 2003, he claimed to have murdered 71 and confessed to having sex with them before killing them. A detail which he did not reveal until after his sentencing. No, they were talking about having sex with him ahead of time too.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, come on, people already knew that.
People already knew that. Well, I mean, the chances of a male serial killer being not sexually motivated is very
hard.
Very low. Being high, every male serial killer, the vast majority of it is sexually motivated. Even Berkowitz, who finally admitted that he was not schizophrenic, he was not insane. It was all he just wanted to do it.
Yeah. So, in his confession, he acknowledged that he targeted prostitutes because they were easy to pick up, and that he hated most of them. He confessed that he had sex with his victims' bodies after he murdered them, but claimed he began burying the later victims so he could resist the urge to commit necrophilia. Life imprisonment. He was placed in solitary confinement at Walla Walla in January of 2004. On May 14th of 2015, he was transferred to USP Florence High, a high-security federal prison, east of Canyon City, Colorado, in November of 2015, after a public outcry and discussions with the governor, Jay Inslee. Corrections Secretary Bernie Warner announced that Ridgway would be transferred back to Walla Walla to be easily accessible for open murder investigations. He was returned, chartered a plane to return him, and went back to Walla Walla on October 24th, 2015.
It was an awesome way to get back to the
Yeah, I know. So I'm going to go into some victims here. I'm just going to do the names and ages this time because there's too many. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, calm down there.
That's some barrel-aged awesomeness right there. Dear God.
So Wendy Lee Caulfield, age 16.
You're going to have to drive.
Giselle Ann Lovrun, age 17. Deborah Lynn Bonner, 23. Marcia Faye Chapman, 31. Cynthia Jean Hines, 17. Opal Charmaine Mills, 16. Terry Renee Milligan, 16. Mary Bridget Meehan, 18. Deborah Lorraine Estes, 15. Linda Jane Rule, 16. Denise Barcel Bush, 23. Shawanda Leah Summers, 16. Shirley Marine Sherrill, 18. Becky Marrero, 20. Pauline Renee Brockman, 15. Sandra Denise Major, 20. Wendy Stevens, 14. Alma Ann Smith, 18. Dolores Laverne Williams, 17. Gail Lynn Matthews, 23. Andrea Marion Childers, 19. Oh, yeah. Sandra K. Gabbert, 17. Kimmy K. Pitzer, 16. Marie M. Malvar, 18. Carol Ann Christensen, 21. Martina Teresa Otherly, 18. Cheryl Lee Wims, 18. Yvonne Shelley Antosh, 19. Carrie Ann Royce, 15. Constance Elizabeth Noen, she should have been a nun, that name. But she's only 19. Kelly Marie Ware, 22. Tina Marie Thompson, 21. April Dawn Buttram, 16. Debbie Mae Abernathy, 26. Tracy Ann Winston, 19. Maureen Sue Feeney, 19. Mary Sue Bello, 25. Pammy Annette Avent, 15. Delise Louise Plagger, 22. Kimberly L. Nelson, 21. Lisa Yates, 19. Mary Exetta West, 16. Cindy Ann Smith, 17. Patricia Michelle Barkzak, 19. Roberta Joseph Hayes, 21. Marta Reeves, Marta Reeves was 36. Patricia Yellow Robe was 38. There's a Jane Doe who is believed to be somewhere between 14 and 18. Another Jane Doe believed to be between 13 and 24. There are several more that are not listed because they don't know them. Before Ridgway's confession, authorities had not distributed the deaths of Rule, Bartzak, Hayes, Reeves, Yellow Robe, or the Jane Doe B-20, which was the last one I mentioned. Ridgway's confession and directions led police search crews to find the bodies of Advent, Buttram, and Malvar in 2003. In 2010, hikers near the West Valley Highway in Auburn, Washington, found a skull in the vicinity of where Marie Malvar's remains had been found. In 2003, the skull was actually Becky Marrero. Let me get back to some notes here. The remains of Tracy Winston were found without a skull, and that's the skull that one of the hikers found later. So Sandra Denise Major was not identified until June of 2012. A family member asked the King County Sheriff to investigate after seeing a TV movie about Ridgway, and they were able to confirm her as one of the victims. Wendy Stevens, previously known as Jane Doe 10, claimed that she was a white female in her early 20s and possibly had brown hair. Examination of the remains suggests that what?
You just wanted to say Bonner.
Bonner.
Bonner. That's a weird Bonner you got there. Sorry, guys.
So remains suggest that she was actually between 12 and 18, more likely around 15. She was later confirmed to be only 14. So Jane Doe 17, still unidentified, was discovered in 86 near another victim that was later matched to him that was discovered in 84. And then he claimed responsibility in 2003 for her death. Jane Doe B20, also unidentified still, was discovered in August of 2003. And because the remains were partial, her face could not be reconstructed and her race couldn't be determined. But she was determined to be somewhere between 13 and 24.
Jesus Christ.
So here's a list of some more suspected ones. Amina Agashev, 35. Cassie Ann Lee, 16. It says Nee Woods. That means that she was married at 16. Jeez. Tammy Lyles, 16. Kelly K. McGinnis, 18. Angela Marie Gerdner, 16. Patricia Osborne. He denies killing Amina.
You know, I would believe it. I'm sorry with him. Someone like him and Kemper, if they say they didn't do it, they didn't do it.
It's very possible,
He
depending on
didn't-
what she looked like, that it
he-
could have been because Bundy was in the same area at the same time.
Yeah. He didn't mince words. He literally told people the truth
Yeah, well,
for the most part.
he claimed religion at that point. So more suspected. There's an unidentified African American black female. That's what it says. Unknown age. Christy Lynn Vorak, 13. Patricia Ann LeBlanc, 15. Rose Marie Curran, 16. Darcy Ward, 16. Cora McGurk, 22. They think that the unidentified African American female was possibly named Michelle. They don't know. She's never been located or identified, but that's what he said. Her name was possibly Michelle. So,
But he also, again, he killed so many of them over time.
he's like, I don't know.
He didn't really get their names when he did it. He didn't care about their names. He didn't care about them. He just wanted them for one reason.
So that's basically it. There's a lot of pop culture. There's a lot of movies about him. There's a lot of Cold Case Files. Huh?
Can you, is there
Excuse
a
me.
list real fast?
Okay.
I'm curious because I want to go actually watch this movie.
So there's documentaries. There's serial killers. It's a there's called Murder No Apparent Motive about serial killers. It's in 84.
Mm-hmm.
Unsolved Mysteries, season 8, episode 15 in 1996.
So they were like, we think it's a guy doing this on the Green River. That's it.
Well, no, in 96 though, Unsolved Mysteries did mention it. So the 9th episode of the 2010 American documentary show, Who the Fuck Did I Marry? That's when his wife was actually interviewed.
I remember when he was caught, and it was huge because this person was obviously he was active from the early.
The movie Riverman.
That's right. Okay, I do remember that one. But Ridgway, obviously, when he was active from was it 81? They say 80 or like 80 or 82.
82 to 88, and then
More
they
likely
think that there's a more.
Yeah,
from that
more
point.
likely he was active from the early 70s on, and it was a huge deal on
Well,
TV.
considering that he murdered, or he tried to murder a 6-year-old.
It was everything.
Early on.
Literally, like when they caught him, it was major. It was everywhere, all over the news and everything.
Well, also there is a straight to DVD movie that's just called Green River Killer. Crimes That Shook the World. There's an episode that focuses on him. The Capture of the Green River Killer. It was a Lifetime movie. The Court True TV stuff. There's actually Mugshots episode talking about him.
Yeah, I love Court TV.
Cold Case Files.
Cold Case Files.
It's called Obsession. Dave Reichert and the Green River Killer. It's season 5, episode 1. National Headline News talks about Beyond Reasonable Doubt with the episode about him. Bundy and the Green River Killer. It was a horror film from 2019.
That's new.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Oh,
And then
really?
Investigation Discovery did a 2-part on him called The Green River Killer, The Mind of a Monster featuring Ridgway.
Now, normally we're pretty more graphic than this, but we're in public.
We're in
so
public.
we can't exactly show like pictures and
There-
stuff like that.
But by the way, there are bands like MDMA did a song about him.
I think
There's a band called Green River named after him.
what was the band of the Bundy?
Macabre.
Macabre, I think is done.
It's not mentioned on here, which usually that
no,
is.
I have heard it. I think they have done a song about it. They did so very close.
Philadelphia power electronics duo Death Pile.
Oh.
released GR, a concept album about his murders. I just like how they phrase that.
Just been pushing the button on home to techno. Dear God, could you? I'm sorry, I'm freaking morbid. Could you imagine? I can remember everything in his head. Everything Gary Ridgway remembered is all in techno.
We're fucked up. All right, guys. Well, I'd like to eat my food.
I like to eat your food.
And you'd like to eat my food?
I don't like salmon. Sorry.
Why did you put a napkin in that?
Oh,
I want to eat that.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us.
We skipped a whole bunch of comments here.
Did Liz just say Deborah Lee Boner? No, Bonner.
Bonner. A little bit of unright. Let me know when you get hungry. Oh, okay.
No, Dizzy.
Cookie.
Dizzy, we gotta interview you soon. Hold on. 7.
Keisha says.
June 11th. If that works for you, let me know.
Keisha says I really need to walk in the closet. Okay. You're going to say Bonner.
Yeah.
The microwave don't count.
That was a great scene, by the way, in Last House on the Left.
Yeah, well, not the. I don't think it happened in the
no,
remake. I don't think it happened
remake.
in the original one.
That was a fantastic scene.
You can borrow mine.
All right. Well,
Just a second here. God, that's a lot of people. Nelly says that's a lot of people.
I want to eat.
I'll do this. I'm gonna go through the comments real fast. Get a hold.
Sorry, guys. I want to eat.
This is piece of wool. Real fast. I went down the bottom. Sorry. Good night, both of you. Good night, Jeff. Yay, I'm back in service. Oh, more people in and out of service. So, yeah, Cora says she's back in service.
Yay, Cora!
Yay, Cora. Natalie says great show. Calvin says great show. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I was worried that people couldn't hear us, but yeah. But, yeah. So that's it, guys. We are taking off here. We're gonna have another beer.
I'm hungry.
Liz is hungry. And
I have a salad.
We are out. See
Bye,
you
guys.
later. Bye.
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 That was a bad picture.
Bye.
Bye.
The Psycho Mantis, coming to you live from Psycho Mantium 13. Join us here throughout the week for all things in audio, visual, and literary content. You can also find us on the World Wide Web at psychomantium13.com. Join Psychomantium 13 and enter the weird.